Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Will Motivation, and in today's video I want to talk about the first car you should buy your kid. I know a lot of you guys that are watching this video for the first time, seeing me, seeing my channel. You may be wondering why I'm sitting here in my garage in front of my Lamborghini Huracan and my Lamborghini Aventador. That is because my YouTube channel, I like to use my cars to educate people on what it takes to be able to afford a Lamborghini. I mix a little bit of car content along with a little bit of motivational content because for me, like the name of my channel, Will Motivation, is a play on the words because wheels or cars motivated me to kind of get to where I am in life because I just love cars. So welcome if this is your first time watching my channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about, like I said, the first car that you should buy your kid. A lot of you guys might be thinking, should you buy your kid a Lamborghini? Or should you buy your kid an Aventador as their first car? Obviously, I'm here to tell you that neither of these cars were my first car, but the kid that I'm talking about, who is that kid? The kid I'm talking about is the inner kid in you. So what is that first car? For me, the dream car for me, actually I just bought it. I actually bought my dream car, my first dream car. I have it now. I'm going to reveal it towards the end of this video, but I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you the story about how I kind of fell in love with this car and how that car, now that I have it, and I'm going to unveil it like for the first time on this channel. You guys might think I'm crazy, but the way that this car makes me feel is I feel maybe a bit more excited because I bought this car, because it was a car I idolized as a kid. Maybe I'm more excited for this car that I just bought more than when I got the Lamborghini Huracan, which is my dream car, as an adult. And then, even more than the Lamborghini Aventador. So I'm going to show you the car that I bought, that I idolized as a kid, I fell in love with, but I was never able to get the car as a kid because I could not afford it. I asked my parents to help me get it, and simply there was not enough money in my house growing up to get this car. So let me tell you the story, how I kind of fell in love with this car. I always have been into cars, right? And this, like I said, this goes on the theme of my channel where, wheels kind of motivate me, and I'm excited about, I'm motivated about this car. Like it just dawned on me like, wow, I can actually afford this car, and I never bought it. But I'm gonna buy it for the kid in me, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna share it with you. But anyway, so the story. When I was growing up, my sister used to take ballet lessons, and my mom used to take my sister, and she would take me with her because I couldn't be home alone because I was too young. So sometimes my brother would go with me as well, and we wouldn't have anything to do, so we would walk around the neighborhood. It was in Grandview, Ohio, actually, near Columbus. So when my sister was in ballet, we didn't really want to watch the kids in ballet, so me and my brother would walk around this neighborhood and just try to find something interesting to get into. We would walk around the little stores and the bookstores, and there was actually a store there, and it was actually a hobby shop. And I grew up in like the 70s and the 80s. And back then, kids that like cars were big on remote control cars. And some of you guys might relate to this, but there used to be these high-end remote control cars that you could build from a kit. And there was this hobby shop that me and my brother used to walk to, and we would go looking around because it was basically like toys in the hobby shop, and like toy cars for like racetracks, and toy remote control cars and toy model cars. So that obviously was our favorite place to go. So we would walk over to the shop. It was a guy, I guess he was the owner of the shop, and that was what he did for a living. And I know he used to see me and my brother walk in there, probably like 10 years old, 11 years old. And we used to walk in that store, and just for 45 minutes to an hour, we would walk around this little hobby shop that was probably about the size of this garage. And we would look at all the model cars. We would look at all of the remote control cars, the kit cars. We would look at all the slot cars. And I don't think I ever bought one thing in that store, but I used to go to that store every single week when my mom took my sister to ballet lessons. So this guy that was the owner of the shop, he probably saw me and my brother and kind of like, what are these kids? We definitely were not from that neighborhood. I'm from the inner city, where it's mostly black people, just to be frank with you. And where my sister had ballet lessons, it was like a white neighborhood and mostly white people. So, back when I was growing up, this area was a little bit segregated. So when we kind of walked in the store, the guy, he was a white guy, he kind of looked at us kind of like, who are these two kids, from the hood that are walking, in the store? But he was nice, and he saw that we were like nice kids. We weren't in there trying to steal anything. So he was always nice to us, and we would come like clockwork. We would come every Wednesday or Thursday, and me and my brother would just look at the cars. And there was this one car that I wanted more than anything, and it was a kit car from Tamiya, and it was called a Grasshopper. Now, some of you guys might have heard of it. For those of you that didn't hear of it, I'm going to show you towards the end of this video. But this car, kind of motivated me a lot, because I never actually the car. Let me tell you how much the car cost. So it was a kit car, remote control car. You had to buy all the parts separately. You had to buy the remote controller. You had to buy the battery, and then you bought the car, right? You had to build it from scratch. It gave you all the parts. And you had to build it like a model car, put together the remote control and the servos and all that kind of stuff and the battery, and then you had a complete kit. Now the car by itself was $139, and every now and then it would go on sale for $129. And of course, for my birthday, I would ask for this car. Of course, for Christmas, man, more than anything, I wanted that car, but it cost $139, and it was just too much for my mom and dad to afford to buy me a $140 model car and then turn around and buy me the extra things that I needed to get it to work, which would have cost probably close to $200 bucks. And so as much as I asked for that car, as much as I prayed about that car, I really used to go to bed saying prayers about getting that car. But I understood, my parents they explained to me that we didn't have that much money for that kind of thing. And we never did, until the time I got in college, So I never was able to get that car as a kid because my parents couldn't afford it. I was never mad at my parents because it is what it is. They did a good job raising me and my brothers and sisters. So I was never salty with my parents because they couldn't afford afford giving me that gift. But that kind of formed me to be driven, to want these things where, to me as a kid, it was wow, what do I need to do to be able to, when I get older, to be able to buy a $140 remote control toy car, right? What do I have to do? I have to go to college. I got to go get a good job. And then will I be able to do it? And then, and then that remote control car, that love for those cars as a kid turned into a love for real cars. Once I turned 16, it was I wanted to get a real car, but I was patient. I did all the steps I had to do. My parents taught me that I should go to college and get an education. I listened to them. I went to school and learned how to become a software engineer. I graduated. I got a really good job. Well, relatively speaking, I got a good job. I was making $35,000 a year after I graduated from college, which was more money than both of my parents combined, $35,000 a year. So it was a lot for me at the time. But I soon, after my first paycheck, After they took taxes out of it, I knew I had to make more money than that to be able to get the things I wanted to afford. So I started hustling on side businesses and things. And next thing you know, started a business, quit the daytime job, and years later I started investing in real estate, and I was able to get these real toy cars like the Lamborghinis that you see behind me. But in this video, I'm going to show you, without further ado, I'm going to show you my first love, my first car. I haven't opened it yet. It just came in. Like, I really feel some kind of way about buying this toy car that I never was able to get as a kid. That I used to say prayers going to bed, like, to somehow be able to get this car, man. Like, my friends, my brother, and they'll tell you. But anyway, I got it, so I'm gonna show it to you guys and just share the moment with you guys. So this for me is what Will Motivation is all about, because as a kid, being able to afford this little toy motivated me to try to stay on track, to try to be able to have some kind of plan to not be poor when I'm older. To be able to, if it was something that cost $100 for me or my kids or my family, I would be able to do it. And right now, yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm in a position to be able to do those things like this for myself, but also for other people. So anyway, let me show you guys this first love of mine, this my first car that I should have bought my kid, my inner kid, a long time ago. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so here it is. This is my grasshopper. Man, y'all probably think I'm like being dramatic, but I'm not being dramatic. This is something that I obsessed over as a kid. This toy right here, I obsessed over it. And my brother, shout out to my brother D-Moss, he had mentioned it at the same time. I forget what was going on, but at the same time, we thought that I should get this car, and we were talking about it. And we tried it, like at Christmas time, we kind of have like an ongoing thing where there were things that we could not get as kids because we didn't have the money for it. And we try to buy each other those things that we wanted, that we didn't get, that we have stories about. Like my brother, for Christmas, all he wanted was a Cincinnati Bengals NFL football helmet. Like an orange helmet with the Bengal tiger stripes on it. And my parents couldn't afford it. So they bought him, oh man, it was almost like a cruel joke. They bought him like a football helmet, but it was like an old, it was like an old-fashioned white helmet with like the leather on the top from like the 1960s or something. Man, it was like a cruel joke because he thought he got what he wanted, but when he unwrapped it for Christmas, it was this white helmet. Like it didn't have any football team on it, and he was brought to tears on Christmas because it wasn't what he wanted, and he thought he was going to get what he wanted. So I got him that helmet, and I got it signed by some Bengals player. Signed it. Drop me a comment, D-Moss. Who was it that signed it? But anyway, I got my brother a signed helmet for the Bengals. I'll tell you what, if he had got me this car for Christmas and surprised me with it, man, I would have been tripping. But anyway, I'm about to show you guys. Here we go. This is my all-time favorite. Oh man, this is my all-time favorite toy that I wanted growing up right here. Man. Man, you guys don't know how many times I went to the hobby shop and the thing would be sitting on the wall and I would just be looking at it, man. Damn. It was just something about it, like, I don't know if it's a drawing or what, but let me give you guys a close up. This is my first, this is my dream car. This is my first dream car. And I never got it until now. And I finally bought it for the kid and me and wanted to share opening it with you guys and Shout out to Tamia. This was something that was a childhood dream for me, man. And so wow. I'm not even gonna open it. You guys will probably think I'm weird because I got a Christmas tree up, but I work so much that I don't get to sit down and kind of enjoy like the whole Christmas thing. So I'll just leave my tree up because I like how it makes me feel and the memories that I have. So I just leave my Christmas tree up. So I'm not even gonna open this. I'm actually gonna set it under my tree just to remember the feeling that I had of wanting this and the feeling that I have like being able to finally get it. It's symbolic for me. Anyway, there it is. Wanted to share that moment with you guys. This is the first car you should get your kid, and that kid is the kid in you. That thing maybe that you couldn't get as a kid. Maybe reward yourself with it now that you're older, you know what I'm saying? And for those of you that are still kids, or for those of you that maybe grew up different, where maybe you didn't have some of those same challenges, in life we all have different challenges. Like, these things that I talk about on my channel are not even like the main things that I'm trying to accomplish in life, but they're things that I find enjoyment in, sharing and everything. But there's always something bigger. So, remember, figure out what you want and act accordingly. This is Will Motivation signing out. Love you guys. All right, peace.
Yo, take. Check it out. Check it. The tourist. Somebody said I was limited or confined in my style of rhyme. But time after time I divine schemes for the mind is fine. My son of intellect transcends to intercept questions of my ability while filling me on the internet. Let's pretend that these words would be same language. You would use the same shit to entertain your brain with. Now let's pretend you're blind. You could keep my real audio on the web. I get in your head and into your cardio. Vascular words I choose to use make me spectacular. No need to mention this. Though I'm venomous like Dracula. Dip this like spatulas. My synonyms tend to send them in. But I still feel fresh breath and then just happening again. My rhymes weave divine things. My mind seems find things that cause combined things to learn what rewind means. I design themes of life that are sometimes destructive, but constructive to show that I'm not the one to fuck with. Good luck, kid, if you think you can hang with this intelligence. My rhyme and context what we bring elements of relevance. I'm full of this new cerebral containers of anger. Give birth to things what up sins like Jesus in the major. When in danger, get open like in a slide strap. Don't try rap till I posted, just sit reply back. Don't deny that, just in my last rap you said I like that. And you know I said that, so here's an ice pack for when I strike back. That's just an example of the skills that I received as a seed. So back in the day there will be a need to lead these thoughts on tracks by way of rap. So I hone skills on battlefields, perfecting my attack. Instead of selling crack outside the major universities, my dome started bursting these with the strength of Hercules. Used as an art form at the same time a weapon. I started a two-line connection that you see reflection. I cause deception. That's why some of y'all think I'm limited. But if you remember this, then right about now I can finish this.